Three, two, one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 9 of the H2O podcast. I am Roderick Chambers, and I'm representing for the H2O Healing to Optimization podcast. And I'm very blessed to have you to join us for another episode. And as normal, I want to keep the routine of making sure that we connect in a way that we are sobering our energy. And so we're just going to take a couple of deep breaths. Just one more. Okay, I like to set the tone for each episode, no matter what I do, by creating this tone that whatever you set your mind to, it can be accomplished. But first, recognizing that possibilities of any and all kind are available to you and I. And it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't matter where you start. Any kind of possibility is available to you and myself. And so I'm excited about that, and I hope you're excited about that as well. As we know, there are several events that are happening in the planet today that really goes without having to mention. If you followed the news in any kind of way for the last few days or couple of weeks, then you know that the tensions have definitely have risen or increased around the planet. But all that to say, even in our local communities, there's still much to discuss about all the kinds of things that are happening around us, even in your individual life. And so, what we want to use these podcasts for, as we have in the last few weeks and couple of months, is to create conversation about how we can heal as a community and how we can learn ways to optimize. And today, I'm really thrilled about the company that we have to help us to understand the importance of that self-care. There's a few things I want to promote before we get started, and then we're just going to dive into the conversation. As you all know, I've released a couple of songs out that help us to continue to raise our vibes, to keep us in good spirits. You can find that on the website h2o-1.com. That's H as in horse, the number 2, O as in octopus, -1.com. You can go to the homepage and just kind of explore around and see what's on the page. Because I want to keep my homepage primarily focused on the health aspect, we are shuffling the music around to just the products, and we're constructing a separate page just for the music itself. But in the meantime, you should know that by now you can go to any of the music providers, iTunes, Apple Music, YouTube. There's a few other ones out there that I'm not really well versed, Spotify, and a few other ones that I'm still learning about, that you can find some of that music out there as well. The latest single that dropped on the Valentine's Day was I Want to Be in Love, and then the H2O Optimized song that was dropped back in November. In addition to that, got the book out, Almost Doesn't Count, or Does It? That can still be found on the homepage, I believe, of H2O. Or again, you can just go to products and you can research that out and you can find that. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time going to the homepage. I just want to bring that to your attention. But what we are going to do is go forward within our interview. I'm actually going to let the guests introduce themselves, because I think that guests can just introduce themselves much better than I can. And then we want to put all their material on flyers if you guys want to follow them or learn more about them, about their bio. Before we get started, I would like us to make sure that we set intention to record, not record, but to follow these two gentlemen before I even introduce them. Make sure that when this podcast drops, just go ahead and subscribe to whatever they're doing. Just go look them up because I am sure that you will want to be following whatever that they have out there, what kind of content, and definitely the services that they have. Without further ado, I would like Mr. Joe, if you can open us up, sir. Just share with us who you are, what you do, and then Mr. Montrell Jackson, if you can do the same. And then I have a quick game I'd like to play with both of you.
Awesome, awesome. Roderick, thank you for the opportunity. I'm just blessed and grateful to be here and to be with you fine gentlemen as well. My name is Joe Moreno. I'm the spa director for a company called Restoration Wellness and Learning. Our website is www.bookrwl.com. As the spa director, what we do is we provide mobile services for our clients all around the Houston community area. Such services that we do are general medical massage therapy, meditation, yoga, esthetician services, and other services that help out a lot more in the spiritual and energetic parts, such as Reiki work, guided yoga, Tai Chi, and in martial arts as well. You know, when I started this business, or actually when my business partner, Jonathan Denning, and I started this business, what we really wanted to do is we were noticing health and wellness was really lacking as far as not just the professionalism, but more of just having that connection with the client. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to slow the session down. We wanted to create journeys for clients instead of, you know, sessions itself, whether they were doing yoga or whether they were doing massage. And we didn't no longer wanted to be therapists. We wanted to be coaches, because we knew that as a coach, you continue with that player until they move forward to the next part of their life. And as coaches with restoration, we wanted to be the way with our clients, that we are with them and through their journey of self-care until they're ready to move on to the next step, or whatever next step that would be. I've had, honestly, at the time that we've been in business for a little bit over 3 years, nothing but gratitude as far as the support of the community and such great members like Montrell Jackson that we have with us as well too, and his business that is just made the service here in Houston amazing. But more importantly, Roderick, you too, man. You and your service and what you're doing, I am just grateful and blessed that I've got to know you, and I'm going to get to know you more. But man, we got a lot going on that we can move for Houston. So I'm looking forward to it, Roderick.
Absolutely. Likewise. Likewise. And Mr. Montrell, thank you so much for sharing, Joe. Mr. Montrell, would you like to share with us who you are? I think you're still on mute.
There we go.
All
there
right.
we go. All right. Yes, my name is Montrell Jackson. The name of my business is My Massages, as you can see on the shirt. It's all about the hands, all about the hands. I've been a therapist since 2013. And my original plan was to be an RN, but work schedule never did line up with my school schedule. And I was blessed enough to land in massage for sure. So nursing, I definitely had a fire for it, but massage is a whole different animal, man, a whole different animal. So I actually started, as I stated, in 2013, but as far as my instructing and my coaching aspect, that really started in 2014, right after I graduated, because I came back to be a teacher's assistant for a blind student.
Oh, wow.
And that really opened my eyes as far as the attention to detail that it really took in order to be an A1 therapist, to really, really help someone to find out, to really, really pay attention to the really fine details of being a massage therapist. And it really honed my skills, man. It really opened my eyes on a whole different level as far as what it really takes to be a massage therapist. It really threw kindling on my fire. It really made me pay attention to what it's going to take as far as to educate other people as far as what's going on with them, because the education portion of massage is very underrated, unfortunately. But once you educate the client, then it kind of takes the responsibility off the therapist, puts it back onto the client, because it's a partnership. Most people don't realize that. If you have a massage therapist, a great massage therapist, that's awesome. But it's a partnership. You know, that's the thing about it, man. So it's just so much as far as dealing with massage, you know, as far as the pain relieving aspect is one thing is, and also just the awareness of where you are in space. It's also as part of something to help you to realize that you don't have as much quality of life that you think you have.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it goes back to the awareness aspect. I'm not going to talk your head off on it because I'm good with it, and we have a little time. I know you have some questions, so we'll throw in some season as we go along, and we'll definitely get a lot of understanding as far as what massage is, what it truly can do for people. Because in my aspect, people have a very let's say watered down version of what they think massage is. But once you really start to unpack it and you really educate people about as far as, okay, well, the way that you've just been sitting in your car when you've been driving home is affecting why you're having shoulder pain and neck pain and headaches all night. When you start to educate people about that stuff, then it kind of opens up their eyes on a few things. So that's the thing about massage that I love the most is the education portion. And just seeing the maturation of someone to where what they thought massage was as to where what it really and truly is. But what I will say is this, therapists matter. The
Indeed.
type of therapist that you have matters. Education of the therapist matters. We don't just spread lotion. We don't just spread lotion. That's not what we do.
That's right. That's right.
That's it. We're here to restore the body. That's the key. We're here to restore. Get the person to where they need to be. That's the thing. But it's a journey, man, that I absolutely, there's nothing I would rather do. I haven't worked since I graduated, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't worked
There you go.
since I graduated. I love this stuff, man, for sure.
Nice.
Definitely. Oh yeah.
Well, for the invisible audience, or at least the audience that we can't see, if you can't tell that these gentlemen are thrilled about what they do, and I had the privilege. Let me give a little backstory. I had the privilege of being interviewed by Joe. I think it was back in October of last year, and
Yeah, that's right.
For those who are not familiar with the massage therapy industry, generally when you go and do an interview for a position as a therapist, you provide actual a session, or you do 15, 30 minute or 4 hour of a actual massage session. And so it was such a great experience, because you get a chance as therapists, and something that both you gentlemen have already alluded to, especially Montrell. It's a symbiotic experience where it's the client and the coach that's working together. And even though you may be laying on a table or you may be in a massage chair, there's a certain chemistry that starts to happen between you and your client, and they're feeding off of your energy and you likewise. And so I'm sure that these gentlemen can talk more about that. As I told them before we got started, I'm the baby of the group. And so I'm just the one. Well, I'm so excited to learn more from them. Just kind of speed forward, fast forward a bit. I was able to sit in a virtual training with Montrell, and I know he made the statement earlier that, he can just go and he can just talk. And honestly, I could just listen. And I think that as we hear more from him, you'll see why. There's so many experiences and so much that he has to offer, that anybody who's serious about health, or who's serious about really taking their careers to the next level, just in that short moment of meeting Montrell, I think that you would see the reasons why, and you'll see the value of the things he has to share. And so I'm really excited about learning more about his journey and what he has to share about how we all can do better about improving our health. And so before we delve into more questions, I do want to play a little rapid fire game with you all.
Okay.
And all I need you to do is just say, just tell me your answer. Okay, Swedish versus a deep tissue.
Deep tissue.
Deep tissue.
Yeah. Oh yeah. As a therapist, man, we're doing work. We got that. We need to get that deep tissue when we're giving it too. So
Yes, that's
Is
the
that the
thing.
same for you, Montrell?
Definitely, man.
Oh,
Definitely.
okay.
Okay, now hold on. Are you talking
Okay.
about performing
there we
Swedish for
go.
deep tissue or receiving Swedish for deep tissue?
On the
It is-
receiving end. On the receiving end.
Now, if it's receiving, I would prefer deep tissue also.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Let
for
me
sure.
clarify this. All of this is going to be on the receiving end.
Okay.
Understood.
All
Understood.
right.
Okay. Appreciate you pointing that out. Sacral, cranial, or myofascial?
Sacral cranial over here. I got to go with sacral cranial. Montrell taught me, and Heather, if you remember Montrell, of course, with our instructor too,
Yes,
she taught me
yes.
craniosacral, and actually I have a client that loves craniosacral, and I have dove into that so much that I you can feel the senses now. I can feel that circadian rhythm, and it's so cool. I craniosacral all the way from me.
Okay.
Yeah, cranial is. Yeah, I think I would like a little bit of cranial also. And the thing
Okay.
about the cranial is it's a different vibe of massage.
Right. Right.
That's the thing. So it's definitely tuning in for therapists and client. There's a definite connection there.
Oh yeah.
Because the therapist definitely has to be serene, and the client just have to give it up.
That's right.
Plain and
That's
simple.
exactly right.
Yeah, the client definitely just have to give it up and just accept it. You know what I mean? That's the thing. So it's all about vulnerability, man.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
You talk about basic like attuned awareness. When you got that attuned awareness during a session, oh my gosh, you feel it. You get the tingles. You start smelling things. Like what's going on. But what it is that you're in tune to the client, and usually the end results when you have the client what's going on, they're like, oh my, I was thinking of this came into my mind. This is like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That pine smell that started coming to my nose. It was because you were thinking about a time as a child and you were in the woods. Amazing. I mean, those things happen, and
Sure.
we wonder why we still we still have wonders about our body and our brains and what it does, and we only just cracked the surface of it. And something like this is just so amazing to feel. So yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, we're gonna do more to unpack the answers. If you
All right.
can, as quick as you can,
All right.
give me your answers, and then I want to probe on you more to give us more of that feedback. Okay.
Sounds
This
good.
next one is sports massage or Russian.
Me personally, I would prefer to receive sports. Definitely, because my flexibility is not the best. So I do need to be stretched out more, add in some body work in there, but definitely stretch me out a bit more, so I can get a little flexibility, so I can get on the dance floor a little bit.
Hey.
Yeah, I got.
Watch out, Mr. Jackson. Watch out now.
I gotta go with sports too, man. Yeah, sports would be me. So man, those body mechanics, as much Montrell would say, body mechanics. I do those well, and my hips, they need work.
Likewise. Well, gentlemen, okay, so I intentionally started with that kind of a rapid fire because there's going to be people watching who don't have a clue of what any of those things are. And I wanted that kind of joke for people to say, well, what is a Swedish? What's a Russian? What is all say the Russian spies? What they talking about? I want them to be intrigued enough because I want you all to, if you can, a little bit more share with the audience, what would be the benefit of having these different modalities. And then I also want you to introduce other things like Reiki. One of you talked about how you enjoy that kind of energetic work. How does Reiki fall in line with that? What are some other modalities that you have found to be more beneficial? And just kind of unpack that. So we'll start with the Swedish and the deep tissue. What can you two tell us about those modalities in particular?
Okay. Well, when it comes down to when you're talking about Swedish and deep tissue, okay, those are two. They can be said to be far on separate ends of the spectrum. Okay, Because Swedish, the number one thing about Swedish is Swedish only use a certain amount of tools. Okay, you're basically just using your hands with Swedish. You're just using your hands. You're not using forearms and elbows for a Swedish massage. It's mostly designed pretty much for relaxation. And the thing about Swedish is it's designed to really stimulate circulation within the body. Okay, I can give you an example. Today I worked on my aunt. She's had a stroke. Okay, so I've been working on her for about the last month or so. And what I'm doing with her is I'm using a lot of Swedish strokes because she's had a stroke, but you know, normally whenever a person has a stroke, they really don't get a lot of, they stop using basically that portion of the body. Most of the time it's like the left side. So right now she really isn't using her left arm as much. She isn't really using her left leg. So what I'm doing is I'm using more longer strokes to stimulate the blood flow, to stimulate the nerves within those muscles. Okay, and that's all I'm really trying to do is to create that blood flow in that area. Once you start to create the blood flow in the area, now you're going to start to get more feeling in the area. When a person now has more feeling, now she can start to move the leg more because she can feel that muscle starting to move. Once you get that blood flow, the muscle, it starts to get a little more supple. It's more pliable. Now it's more apt to work. Easier. That's the thing. Easier is the key, because if a person feels pain, they're not going to want to do it. That's the thing. Well, most of us. So let me back up, okay? And that's the thing. So it's understanding your audience and understanding the techniques that you have to use, you know, and so that, okay, to make it easier for the therapy. Because like I said, she's had a stroke, so we got a long way to go. Now, as we get further into our treatments, I will start with more deep tissue work. I will, because I want to get deeper into the layers of the muscle. The thing is, we have to understand is this. The muscles are just like an onion. It's layers. So when I'm doing a Swedish massage, I'm mostly working on the top layers. I'm not getting very deep into the tissues. When I start to get deeper into the tissues, then I'm going to work a little bit slower because I got to get a little bit deeper, and I want to penetrate the deeper layers. We have to understand that the body is built on a fight or flight basis. So whenever a person is doing a lot of Swedish massage, a lot of times it's a lighter pressure. When a person does more deeper tissue massage, then it's a deeper pressure. So it requires them to go slower. If I try to work on a person and I want to try to do the same speed with a stroke that I'm doing on Swedish, and if I'm trying to get that depth like I'm doing in a deep tissue massage, it's a problem. The person is going to tighten up. They're going to wince because it's going to be more uncomfortable. So that's where your technique comes in, and the knowledge of the therapist to understand the client and the techniques that they can use. So I can use more Swedish right now on my aunt and not as much deep tissue because she's just now getting used to it. The more I work on her, the more she gets used to the therapy, the more I can get deeper into those layers, then easier, then we can start to really do more deeper work. But that's just how it goes. The body is built on a fight or flight. We have to understand that. So we always want to try to make sure that the client is comfortable. Communication is key when it comes down to massage. Communication is key. Plain and simple.
In Montrell, you said something that I've been repeating. It's been thematic throughout my workshops, podcasts, you know, whatever I've done. And that is reminding the audience the importance of understanding that autonomic nervous system, that fight or flight, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, and the importance of knowing what we're experiencing throughout the day and how in general, and we'll talk more about this, I'm sure, how that stress is creating that stimulation in that fight or flight, and the importance of relaxing that body as you're talking about. And I know that you and Joe both, I believe, are trained in the medical. You focus more on that medical side, and
Correct.
which I don't have, but I think that that's really important for you all to delve into that, because there's so many people dealing with so many different kinds of ailments. And I know that your advice and your guidance alone is going to be a resource and a reference, hopefully, for them to be able to reach out to you all and get that kind of support. But I'm going to segue a bit. Joe, tell me a bit more about this, the sacral, the craniosacral, and what you may know about the Reiki and those kind of modalities
Right.
as well.
So yeah, so craniosacral, it's sometimes it's hard to explain it, but honestly, what it really is that it involves the body, but it involves actually two major parts of our body: the skull and the sacrum. And the sacrum, if for you ladies and gentlemen out there, for anatomical purposes, think of your spine starting from your neck and your head going all the way down to your tailbone. That tailbone right there, with that bone that's sticking out, that's right up, just right above your glutes, is called the sacrum. And within that sacrum and within that whole area of the spine, your spinal cord's inside there. And then within that spinal cord, there is this fluid. And this fluid is spinal fluid, actually is a fluid that has its own systematic rotation, like your blood pumping. Your blood pumps in unrich oxygenated blood, goes back with rich oxygenated blood to, of course, to feed the whole body. The circadian rhythm is what they call it, or the spinal fluid, also has a rhythm within itself. And that rhythm can be disrupted. And things that happen with that disruption is obviously anxiety, injury, and typical daily stress that can do it. And what craniosacral does is that it allows the therapist to actually help release, with maneuvers within the during the session, to release the sacrum away from the spine and release the skull away from the spine. And just by doing that, what you are is opening up the spine. And then it's in millimeters. It's not a significant thing. It's in millimeters, but just those millimeters changes the circadian rhythm, or the movement of the spinal fluid in the spinal column. Now, what does that do to what's that supposed to do to my body? Well, think about it. If the spinal fluid is revolves in the spinal column, it goes within the brain. Our brain, of course, is the muscle in the body that is the thinker. It is the creator within ourselves. So if that spinal fluid is interacting with the brain, it's obviously going to do some work within the brain. That brain transfers into the body, and therefore we have craniosacral. Now, what's so interesting about craniosacral is that it's not about doing like the deep tissue work or Swedish massage that like Montrell was talking. Those are modalities for clients for, you know, whatever specific reasons. And if a client ever becomes interested in craniosacral, it's more of holding the client on the massage table, holding a safe space for them. That's where the energy comes in. And by creating a safe space for the client, then you're able to, of course, to work with the client on the table and to provide adjustments with certain techniques that you do, certain techniques, and you're not even touching the body. It's almost a sense of energy within the hands. And just by doing that, that's, of course, changing the properties in the body and the circadian rhythm and the spinal fluid and all those things that go with it. And the end result is that the client now, it's almost the sense, think of it almost as like an awareness tool. You know, maybe I'm not aware today of what's going on because I'm thinking about the past, or maybe I'm too focused and too anxiety because I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen in the future. And so that mindfulness, that awareness is lost. And by craniosacral, really what you do is you slow things down. You quiet the client down, and you're in a really good place where the client can actually not think, just be. And I really feel that along with other modalities like Reiki work, which is energy work that's used in hands with therapists, meditation as well too, all those other modalities that are kind of in the spiritualistic sense, are very, very important, because Montrell's over here talking about, you know, Swedish massage therapy and deep tissue therapy. Yes, we got to have that because we work our bodies through so many things. But at the same time too, are we working the head? You know, are we working the mind? Because the brain also, of course, is another important muscle in our body. So that's kind of what I see, and that's why it draws into me. And I guess as a therapist, if there's any therapists out there that have always been considering and thought about it, you know, about the energy work, what it looks like, or maybe you're interested, follow your gut instinct. I really have to say that. follow that gut instinct, because it's what's going to do is that it could create something of a passion that maybe you were meant to do. Maybe the universe threw it out to you, and then and that's exactly where you're supposed to be right then and there. So that's just, it's something that I could give to anybody out there, because I'm in that moment of transformation. I'm like, I love that deep tissue therapy. I'm a good medical massage. These thumbs can get some stuff out. But at the same time too, I'm like, man, but you know what? It's like that spiritual stuff is really kicking in now.
For sure.
And I think I honestly, that's changed my session entirely. From back in the clinic days, Montrell, when we were at work, to now, I can definitely say that my modality is different because I'm in a different place too.
And just one thing, just to throw in, man.
Go ahead.
One thing that can't be overlooked, okay, is the energy portion of being a massage therapist.
Absolutely.
Clean space isn't just the surroundings. As far as where the table sits, clean space is in here also, mentally, for the therapist, and helping the client to get into a clean space. That's the thing, because energy is real. If you can't get that client to really settle down and really focus, then they can be like this the whole session. And then they just spend an hour and a half with you for nothing, because their body has been so wound up. So it's you trying to get them to the place to where now they feel like they are in a good healing space, right? Because massage is all about healing. That's the thing about it. Don't forget that part. It's healing physically, but mentally healing. That's the thing about it. And as far as to jump in on that cranial, just at the tail end, it's wound up fascia. It's wound up fascia that we're targeting, because as we're doing our movements, we're just trying to let the fascia unwind. That's it. And okay, we do fascia. Okay, for the people that may not know, fascia is something that connects everything in the body. If you ever cook chicken and you pick up the skin on the chicken, that little jelly substance, that's fascia. It's everywhere in the body, everywhere. So when a person gets bunched up, because if you've been driving in Texas, then you know that you probably been on the freeway and somebody cut you off, and you may have some favorable words for them, and your shoulders end up like this. We don't naturally go down.
Yeah, that's true.
After a person up after we've calmed down, our shoulders don't naturally go down. They're still bunched up. That's fascia that is bunched up. So we have to create that healing space for someone to unwind. And that's literally what it is. The fascia has to unwind so that we can physically relax, then we can mentally relax. Body and soul goes hand in hand, man. Body and soul go hand in hand. We can't separate the two.
If I can just for one moment, because I want both of you to actually speak to this. And you've already somewhat done it, whether it was before the call or not, but can both of you provide maybe one of your top 5 or top 3 experiences working with client, whether it be in CranioSacral or whatever modality that you use, where that light switch came on, when you recognize how much of the work that we do is really energy work, and it really is about helping to help clients clear here and here. So if you have like a testimonial, if you will, that you can share about a client, I'd really like you all to share about that.
Actually, I was a tail end of Montrell on the CranioSacral that I wanted to share, because what Montrell said was something interesting, was safe space, those 2 words. And if we think about that in the massage therapy, safe space is, let's just think about that in general. Safe space is, a place where you can dwell and you can relax and you can be as comfortable as possible. You be vulnerable. There you go, Montrell, that same word again. Definitely. So the thing that I learned, and what about safe space, what I learned to do, and also to do with the client, and even prior to, which of course you did so well in the beginning, Roderick, is to breathe. And here's the thing, one of the most unique massage sessions I have ever had as a therapist would be a client of mine, a very great client of mine, that has a really demanding job and has a lot of tension. And it's a lot more of just like, work tension and not workout tension. But anyways, when I start off, I go, all right, deep breath in, and we both take a deep breath in. So he hears my breath coming in the lungs. I feel his while I have my hands right, of course, on his back, ready to just do the first glide, to start the body. And what I noticed was that ever since then, we mimic our breathing. Our breathing is matching 1-to-1. When there's an area where I can tell he's got tension, or maybe it's that during the craniosacral, I can hear, I can feel the deeper breathing happening. And when that happens, I follow with it. And then the end result is the flow that happens. And so now it's like two individuals that are just in a safe space, and healing and wellness is being done on both sides. As a therapist, when I feel like I'm in that mode, when you're really feeling good and that everything is just feeling great, your mechanics are good, your hips may be hurting, but right now they feel fantastic. Let's get to work. Exactly. That's that space, that that you want to be. And for me, breathing was the biggest one. So, for clients out there wanting massage sessions, just think about the breathing. That's really all you got to do. And for therapists, we got to breathe through it. We have to breathe through. So that's for me. That's what I'd say. Breathing was one of the most important things that I've learned, and what I get out of it.
Yeah, I underrated. A lot of people do not know how to breathe. A lot of people forget to breathe.
For sure.
I had a client tell me that actually on Thursday. She said, I forget to breathe sometimes. No, I need you to breathe.
Right.
And actually, I had a session this week from he was a referral, and he came in, and the thing was, this gentleman, he said that he was fighting MMA before MMA was legal. Okay, so that was a long time ago, and he's an older gentleman. He's still working out, so his body is physically beat up. Physically beat up. So, and he was talking about all types of injuries, so on and so forth. The thing about it is this, that I need people, therapists to understand and clients to understand. Technique makes all the difference. All the difference, okay? Explanation is key. Explanation to the client as to what it is that you're going to do is key.
Right.
You want them to understand why is it that you're going to do certain things. The reason why I say that is this. Okay. I'm going to toot my own horn. I do what's called real body work. Okay. I'm not going to play with you, because if you're having chronic issues, and that's something that we have to understand, people have chronic issues. That's something that has been with you for a prolonged time. Okay. A lot of people have them, but they do not take care of them. Like I said, this gentleman has been doing MMA for years. When I worked on him, he came in and he explained to me everything that was going on, and I explained to him what it is that I needed to do. He started out and he said that he scheduled a 90-minute session. When I got ready to work on him and he changed his mind, he's like, nah, I think I want to do an hour. So I'm like, okay, well, why did you change your mind? And he was like, well, the last time I got a massage, and the therapist did this, that, and the other, and I really felt beat up. I felt hurt when I got off the set, when I got done with the session. So again, that's why I had to take my time and explain to him why I needed 90 minutes.
Sure.
Okay. Sure. I've never worked on you. Number one, I heard what you said that your issues are, but we still need to find out exactly what the problem is. And I don't want to rush. Mm-hmm. If I rush during my session, then you're going to feel like you're beat up.
That's right.
And that's a no-no. I don't want to rush my work. I believe in quality of work, not quantity of work. I want you to feel like we got something accomplished during the session. So I worked on this gentleman. Well, and after our consultation, he was like, okay, well, I'll try you for the 90 minutes. I'll try. So we worked on the issues that he had, neck, shoulders, back, rotator cuffs, things of that nature. And at the end of the session, he came out of the booth and he was like, wow. He's like, okay, that's a difference. That's a difference. Technique makes all the difference.
Sure.
Do not rush with a client. What I would normally tell therapists is this: understand the challenge that you have in front of you. Understand that. What are you really trying to do? What type of a therapist do you really want to be? Do you want to just, now, I don't knock therapists, because some therapists want to just relax a client and make the client go to sleep on a table. If that's your forte, then so be it. Me, I like to get up under the hood and change spark plugs. I'm a body mechanic. I like to get in there. I want to fix a client.
Right.
This is what I got into massage therapy for. That's the fun part of it to me. I want to see you coming in limping, and I want to see you running out the door. That's the whole thing. So that's where I get my jollies, okay? Because that lets me know that my hands work, and I got in this for a reason, for that reason. That's the thing about it. I want to help people. So with this particular client, he got off the table and he was like, okay, I feel the difference, because I took my time and I explained to him what was going on while we were working. I had him to make sure he communicated with me. It's not a tough man competition. EQ work is strenuous work for the client. It's emotional work.
Yes, it is.
For the client. It's emotional. It's going to bring up all types of thoughts that they have in their mind, all types of memories that they used to have. It's going to bring all that stuff up. That's what we have, somatic emotional responses. Because people have issues that they have been harboring inside of their muscles, and they do not realize it until you start to manipulate the body.
Montrell, I want to say something to that, and I want you to respond, either one of you, but I want you to continue on that path. But I want to pause you there, because what I'm learning within my own self, but then also just within the work that we do, how I've had to educate clients that you may be physically away from a trauma or a problem, but your body stores all of that information. And so even though they say, oh, I'm fine, I don't even deal with that anymore. I'm not even thinking about that relationship. And I'll share this with you. And I don't necessarily have the research or the science behind it, but I was working with a client once, and we have our triad, the honesty, kindness, and awareness. And I was really tapping into that awareness working with the client. And what I kept sensing was that this person had been into a very traumatic experience, because the tension I was feeling in a particular part of the body, it felt as if they had gone through a car wreck. And so I'm kind of going through it. I'm asking them several different questions, just to kind of get an idea about, because this was my first time working with them, to get an idea about what was going on in their body. And what I kept sensing was it was relationship. It was a relationship. Once I knew that it wasn't a car wreck, it wasn't anything that was physically that happened, I kept getting that it was on the level that the body was almost translating that information as if it was like a car wreck. It was a heartache issue. And so again, I don't have any proof of that, but what I've learned since then is that we don't realize how much our bodies are carrying our history. We often say that the issues are in the tissues, how much more that has become real to me in my experiences. So I want to pause you there, because I want both you guys to spend a little time there, so that clients and potential clients understand that you may be here, you may think that because time has gone by that you're not dealing with it, but it's written all throughout your body. Can you kind of speak more to that?
Yeah, Montrell, I can just to jump in on that.
Sure.
So for the clients out there about what reactions you may get, there is a term, and Montrell called it somatic emotional response. And what it is that It's trauma. It's trauma that you may have, that or something that you may have anxiety, whatever it may be. It's something mentally that is incapable for you to relax your body. And most of the time, like Montrell says, or like you said, Roderick, is when you find it, you tend to trigger that emotion.
Mhm.
And for people out there, it's to let them understand it's okay. Because I've had somatic emotional responses. And honestly, I've had so many somatic emotional responses in the past 2 years than I've ever had in the 4 years of me doing this. So yes, you're exactly right, Roderick. There is a correlation to it, and just having more somatic emotional responses because what's going on in the world of ours, it is detrimental to the body. Now, what I want also clients to know and understand is that as professionals that have been trained to work through these, it is okay. And it's a process that we can guide our clients through them. There may be clients that when we ask, if they wish to continue the session and they say yes, then absolutely. And then and that could go into so many things. An example would be when we ask the client if we wish to continue the session, they can say yes or no. We obviously would respect that as professionals. The client says yes, then will continue the work. And what could happen is that client could share to you what happened. And Montrell, you're talking about physically peeling the onion. Now we're mentally peeling the onion.
Mhm.
And that core is, whether it's a new client that you just talked to, or maybe it's a client you've known for some times, and this is something that's come out. The end result is that we do that. We're doing the 80-20 rule. First of all, 80% listening and 20% talking. Let them get all that out. And you may complete the session physically as far as doing massage work, or you may, like I have, in the last 30 minutes of an 90-minute session, just sit on next to the client and listen to them. And they're just telling me what was going on, what's happening. And it can look at so many different ways. But you're exactly right. The connection and the correlation of physical discomforts you may have is because there are mental discomforts that would be going with it too. And it's okay. It's for everybody. People know it. This is normal. It's okay. And if it ever happens to a massage session, honestly, the best thing, embrace it and take deep breaths and go with it. You'll have a professional with you to walk you through that as well.
And that's the key right there. To therapists, Roger, if you haven't been doing it that long, man, embrace your role.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about it. Embrace your role. Don't diminish. Don't ever let anybody say, "Okay, well, you're just a massage therapist." The hell you say? Imagine, seriously, you're never just a massage therapist, because you are affecting the client mind, body, and soul.
Right.
And you cannot diminish that role, man. Don't ever let anybody do that. Mm-hmm. The thing, I had a client, and understand, you are helping people with recovery. You are helping people that is physical and mental. I had a client when I was a younger therapist. I had a client that I worked on many times, and I got to the point to where I really started to do some work around her neck, and she went through the treatment good, man. Went through the treatment very, very good. We worked, we talked, and things of that nature. I coached her through the therapy. After the end of the session, she was like, I'm proud of myself. She was like, I'll let you do some work around my neck. I'm like, what's going on? She said, my husband tried to kill me. Mm-hmm. My husband tried to choke me to death. My husband choked me to the point to where he broke my hyoid bone. Mm. Normally, that's how they can determine if a person has died from strangulation, because the hyoid bone is broken. Mm-hmm. He strangled her to that point to where it was broken, yet she survived. And she was to the point to where she got comfortable enough in our therapy session to let me work in that same area. Mm-hmm. After that traumatic experience that she had. She didn't share that with me until after the session. But I really had to reflect on it. I'm like, my role as a therapist really allowed her to go through it. Mm-hmm. As far as dealing with it, because again, it goes back to, I created that safe space for her to really unpeel that onion, that mental onion, and really deal with that trauma.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working in the same area that somebody tried to take her life. It doesn't get any more beyond that. Okay, that's the thing about it. So that helped me to realize that my role as a body worker is something that's needed in society. You can't water that down. You absolutely cannot, because when on the level that somebody is watering it down, you just help somebody to accomplish something that they never thought that they could ever do.
Absolutely.
That's the thing about it. So water down on one side, you're up there at the top of the echelon for somebody else. That's the thing about it. I've had people tell me that they were able to dance with their granddaughter for the first time after I worked on it. I've had a guy to where I worked on him, and he said that was the first time he ever run a marathon. I was like, that's good, man. He's like, no, you don't understand. It was the massage. That's it. I said, I thought you said, no, you do not understand.
Exactly.
It was the massage. He said, I noticed the difference. During the race, I noticed the difference, and I won the race. He said, it was the only thing I did different was the massage.
Wow.
I just cool. I don't have a problem with it. I love a little bit of credit.
That's right.
But
That's right.
it helped me to understand the importance of body work. It helps you to understand that, for sure.
What I want you all to do, I know that we're getting close to time, and I want you all to you two to share with me that moment within your own personal life where you recognize this was a path for you. And I know, Montrell, you talked about a bit of your story coming out of as an RN, then choosing massage. But I want, if you can, share that moment what was the defining moment that you knew that this is what you were called to do. Same for you, Joe. And then I want you all to talk about, with everything that you've shared so far, with the stresses, the traumas, and seeing that we're still potentially on the brink of World War III. We're still in COVID. There's so much that's going on in our world. I want you all to talk about the importance of that self-care and how massage therapy or any other kinds of holistic kinds of therapies can to aid and support us through this. And whoever wants to start first, again, just talk about that defining moment that shifted into your massage therapy career, and then talk about, kind of zoom out a bit and just share with how we can use what we're talking about in our day-to-day life.
Right. So I think I've shared this one with you, Roderick, and I think Montrell as well too. But my story goes way back in the late '80s as a young child. My mother had a stroke, actually, and I think it was 1986 is when she had the stroke. And I was 11, 12 or something years old, maybe even younger than that. But then fast forward, around 1991, my mother had heart valve replacement surgery. I mean, this was old school, a titanium valve placement into her heart. I was like, wow. I would lay on her chest and I could hear the clicking noise of that valve, just thinking about it as well too. And it brings a lot of love into me. But here was the thing, my mother and I would sit down, and I was just still a little kid, and sit down on the front porch, and I could just tell, just like her muscles are in atrophy on her left side. She couldn't, her right side, she couldn't move. She couldn't do anything. And then what I would do, I'd sit next to her, and I just started to kind of like just grabbing her shoulder and squeezing it, and grabbing her arm and squeezing it. And what I was doing was just moving the muscles, and she started taking deep breaths in. She started lowering her shoulders. Like, it just felt so comfortable for her. And so I remember that story because I was in Puerto Rico getting a massage session. I was on vacation. I was like, "That's what I do. I want someone to massage me on the beach right now. Let's do this." And so they were doing it, and they're doing a great job. And they were doing a fantastic job, because at the time I was in the jewelry business, and I was ready to make a change. I was no longer didn't want to be a number. I wanted to be a person. And the whole situation to my mom in that time when I was massaging her, and just how comfortable she felt, I decided, I was like, I want to do this. So long story short, I flew back to the States. Monday, I gave my 2 weeks notice, and I met Montrell just after that, of course, in my first class with him. So yeah.
How about that?
So yeah, things happen for a reason. We're all still together in this whole circle. And that's my point right now, to talk about what's going on in the world. You know, unfortunately, we have people in power that are trying to disassociate and distance us together, distance humans together. And we know as humans that we do, and we conquer great things, and we do great things when we do it together. And I think that right now in this world, that if you feel any sense of loneliness, if you feel apart or distance from other people, there are great therapists out there, whether it's a mental therapist or whether it's massage therapists like us, that can help you do that. And I don't say that because I want to get more appointments coming up soon. Well, I'm saying that because if there is a way to connect, there are ways. And what you have to do is ask and support and ask for help. And I think that's the biggest one. If we could all ask for help, well, this world could be much a different place. So for me to just give out to the world right now, if you're struggling, ask for help. If you need something, ask for help, because there are people there.
For sure.
That is true. For
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. As for me, as I think about it, I said that I wanted to be an RN. I wasn't meant to be an RN though. You know, I wasn't meant to be an RN. The reason why I say this is because I've never been so comfortable with doing anything ever in my life. So I know this is where I'm supposed to be, for sure. My mom always told me that I like to help people. I never really thought about it. I've heard her say it, but I never really just paid close attention to it until one day I did really kind of just sit back and think about it. And she's like, you know, you give somebody your last or something. I'm like, no, yeah, I would. You know,
Right.
but that's just, I guess, just the thing, because I don't want to see a person in pain if I can do anything about it. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. As far as I've always had a helping spirit, as far as really trying to see people achieve what it is they want to achieve. I want them to be physically where they want to be, mentally where they really want to be. Massage is both, man, and that's why I go back to it. There's nothing else. I was meant to do this job. Honestly, I feel like I was. I've never done anything that was as gratifying as this. And it's not always, it's good to get paid. Don't get me wrong, I love to get paid.
Right.
But seeing the difference in a person's attitude before the session and after the session, there's no more gratification than that for me personally. Because I know that I've helped this person to get rid of their aches and pains. Once I do that, I've changed their state of being mentally, and now I can possibly change their well-being, their thoughts of well-being. If you can change how a person moves, a lot of times, you can change what they thought their limits were. Now you can change their mindset. Sure. Because if I can change how you move, now you feel like you could do more than you thought that you could in the beginning. Now I've affected you in a positive manner. That's the whole goal for me. That's the whole goal. It's improving the quality of life for a person. People move, but we all don't move the same. That's the thing about it. Understanding what a person's limitations are, explaining to them what their limitations are and how I can help them to get better. That's the beautiful thing about it for me. Right now, as far as the state of the world, we've been dealing with COVID. I wish I could massage the whole world, but I can't. You know, that's the thing about it. And it's not all about everybody getting deep tissue. Somebody's going to get some cranial, somebody's going to get some Swedish, but everybody can get what they need. And that's, before I go down in that rabbit hole, that's the beautiful thing about massage, is there's always some type of therapy designed. Right.
Right.
Everybody. Even if you have a physical condition to where you can't physically get massage, we can do some cranial on you. We can do some other different types of body work to where, or some Reiki to where you can get some type of therapy to help you. Some type of body work is there. The thing that we have to understand, and this is just me and my soapbox. The body is, and this is kind of goes back to we were talking about SCRs earlier. The body retains tension. Okay, the body retains tension, and we have to understand that. Understanding education is key. We have to understand that the body's going to hold tension, and there has to be an outlet in order for the body to release that tension. If the body does not relieve tension, it is going to manifest physically. It's going to manifest physically. It's going to manifest in shoulder pain, headaches, low back pain, leg pain, feet are going to hurt. Something's going to be a problem because you have some issues in the tissues. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't realize it. Dealing with COVID, now we're dealing with the Ukraine issue, so on and so forth. We are caught up. We're all caught up in the same cycle. We're all caught up in the same cycle. That's the thing about it. And before we know it, we're all going to be wound up. Understand that you need an outlet. That is the number one thing that I would say to many, many people. That is therapists alike, whether you are a mental health professional, psychologist, if you're dealing with people, if you're on the massage side, we all need therapy. We all need an outlet. We all have to unwind physically and mentally. That is the first thing that we need to realize is we need an outlet. We need an outlet. Don't let the price point, and I don't care if you're paying $20 for a massage, if you're paying $120 for a massage. Don't let the price point stop you from getting yourself mentally where you need to be.
Right.
Because the mental is going to follow the physical.
Yes, it will.
It's going to. It's going to follow.
That's right.
Don't let finances, and I know it's easy for me to say, I know that because everybody like, man, we got inflation going on and so on and so forth. I understand that. But let me ask you this. How do you feel? How do you feel? That is going to overrule everything. Because if you got a headache, you're going to have to go lay down. If your back hurts, you're not going to go to work that much. If your shoulder hurts, you're going to be limited at your job. So how do you feel? Use what you have at your disposal. Contact someone. If you need to just talk it out, if you need to try to break up a massage session, break it up. Do what you got to do. But get yourself where you need to be, mind, body, and soul. Because you cannot separate them. They're going to go as a package deal. Plain and simple. Period.
Spoken like a true professional.
Yes, we all did. You guys are fantastic, man. Again, I could sit and listen, sit at the feet of wisdom and knowledge, man, all day of you guys.
Oh, we're gonna have to do more of these. I mean, there's just so much to go.
Already in my mind, absolutely. In my mind, I'm already checking in like, okay, yeah, this is gonna be one of those multi-episodes because there's so much to unpack around health, around massage therapy, and then of course all the other things that you guys mentioned earlier. You know, the yogas, the other, I forget some of the other modalities that we didn't even talk about, the CBD industry that you guys have. So there's so much to really unpack. But my goal with this platform, as my company is Healing to Optimization, is to kind of bind everything together because I'm a nutritional coach. I do workshops around nutrition. I do transitional coaching. And so the massage therapy, my goal is to bring that all together so that overall people understand the elixir that is naturally in their bodies, that their life force with intention, knowledge, and wisdom can be the elixir, the remedy that's needed to heal themselves. Knowing yourself is healing yourself. And the more that we begin to understand who we are as individuals, the more that we can show up and participate in life as a collective. And so that's the content I want to continue to put out there and create conversations that are therapeutic. This is a very therapeutic conversation I have with you, gentlemen, to hear your knowledge, to hear your experiences, and to hear your passion. I think it's so important for us to be able to get all of that within our conversations, because I ride the bus every day to my school job, and you know, the blessing of riding that bus is to see people from all walks of life and hear all the conversations that you hear, and you realize that life, of course, is happening, but you realize the kinds of things that people are carrying physically, mentally, and emotionally, and it's coming out, it's bleeding out in public places. And even if you are the kind of person where you're building up your life force and you get on that bus or you get into, you know, that workspace, that office or what have you, and you have built up your force, just you being present alone is going to have an overall impact in whatever place that you're in. And when you start sending out your intentions, your meditations, your prayers, whatever it is, you're changing the environment. And so again, just putting out content and conversations that are building and raising up vibes and frequencies and giving something wholesome to the community, that alone is changing our world literally. And I'm making more of an intention to keep that in my mind so that I understand that the smallest things can make huge changes in our world. And you gentlemen are doing that. And I value that. And I honor you and I appreciate you for what you're doing.
Well, we appreciate you. Thank you for the time. It's been really good. But thank you so much, Roderick.
Awesome. Well, if you guys have any last words that you'd like to share, and just tell people where they can find you to book a session with you. I need to get on y'all table. That is no lie. No way. Okay. Final words of where people can find you.
For Restoration Wellness Learning, you can find us at www.bookrwl.com. If you want to talk to me as well too, you can also call our business number at 713-714-6318. You can also visit our CBD website, which we'll talk later on down the road, but it's www.astralworldcbd.com. And therapists, if you are interested, we're always looking for great therapists. You want to be trained on Montrell? You got it over here with us as well too. So Montrell being our trainer. So I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for sending out the universe some things that we just need to share so that we can get things going out there. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Definitely. As far as my social media, my site is at Gmail, Facebook, and .com if you want to go to the website. That's basically it. Phone number 713-876-9034. Reach out if you have questions. By all means, just hit me up. If you want, if you need a phone consultation, you think you got an injury, you think you cannot be helped, get on that phone.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Think you cannot be helped, get on that phone. I used to tell students, we're trying to put doctors out of business. We're trying to put them out of business.
There you go.
Yeah, we don't diagnose, but we get real close.
Hey man, that's like 3 t-shirts already.
Right?
Not even the one that you're wearing, man. I like that massage. I love it. I love it.
That's
I love it. Gentlemen, it is. I'm sorry, go ahead. Were you saying something else?
No, I'll unpack more on next go round. Trust me.
There you go.
Nice. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to our next. This may be something we do monthly as well. I already have another one that I'm doing on a monthly basis. That's continuing the conversation of how we heal through relationships, starting with the African American community in particular, creating the conversations around that and raising awareness around where we need to heal before we go out and really start healing the world. And so I think that this will be just another one of those added components to just sending out the vibes and the content that's needed for us to be able to take our healing as a collective people, one planet, one race, to the next level. So much love to you, gentlemen. You guys have been such a blessing to the platform, and definitely looking forward to having you back. And again, I'm definitely looking forward to the continual training, as well as getting my massage session in. So much love to you guys, man. Love it, love it. Have a fantastic afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll stay in connection.
Definitely, man. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. For
Okay,
the
no
opportunity.
problem. You guys give me one moment. I'm going to end the recording, and I just want to have a couple of words with you all, and then I'll
Okay.
let you go back to your afternoon if you have the time.
All right.
I should put my glasses on. That'll probably help me to see what I'm doing. Hold on. Yeah,
Ooh,
that's